as the temperature's lower, we are expecting to get our first frost soon. So I'd like to harvest everything from the garden today. We were going to take out all these potatoes in this potato bed, and we're going to see what else we can get from the garden. I really appreciate my dad coming to help me on this day, and he also helped me process apples after we harvested everything from the garden. As I'm pulling back all these vines, I'm looking for any potato berries. We have a few of them on here that I saw earlier in the season, and I want to harvest those to see if we can get any true potato seeds from them. And when you harvest the true seeds from the potato plants, you're not guaranteed to have the same potato come up as you planted the year before, because it could revert back to one of its parent plants. But this is just an experiment. I want to see if I can actually grow potatoes from a potato seed. I think that would be really cool. So I think I'm going to try that this year if my seeds are viable. We had a lot of really odd-shaped potatoes this year. This is one of the potato berries I was talking about. I apologize, my voice is still a little off from being sick. The little chicken right next to me is missing some feathers, and she got pulled through a fence by a raccoon a couple weeks ago, and she's growing her feathers back. We are very lucky to still have her. This is my second season growing potatoes, and this is by far my best year yet. We harvested 11 pounds of potatoes earlier in the season, and then this round that we're harvesting right now ended up being 12 pounds of potatoes. So in total we got 23 pounds of potatoes, which I'm very pleased with for just my second year growing potatoes. They will always have a place in my garden. I'm just tossing these really tiny ones, or like ones that look like they have already sprouted, into the compost pile, and they'll probably grow volunteer potatoes for us next year, which would be a nice surprise. There's so many worms in this soil over here, so when we were done harvesting the potatoes, the chickens were just having at it and just loving all the worms that they were eating. This is our biggest potato that we grew this year. I'm very happy with this. It's a Kennebec potato. That's what we're harvesting right now. So now what we're doing here is just trying to level it out a little bit more and prep the soil for next year's potatoes, or whatever we choose to grow in this bed next year. I grew these potatoes in a mushroom compost, and I fertilized them with bone meal twice this year, but that was it. So relatively easy for this amount of potatoes. Alright, so now we're gonna pull out the celery. We've already harvested from this like 3 times this year. Just cut it off at the base and let it regrow. But now we're gonna get our first frost soon. It's gonna die, so we're just gonna pull the whole thing out, roots and all. Now we move on to our pepper plants. These are pepperoncini pepper plants. And I was under the impression that they were spicy peppers, but they're not. I waited all season for these peppers to get spicy, and I've tried multiple ones, and they were just like flavorless and mild. I thought maybe it was because of all the rain that we got, but then I looked it up, and they're very mild peppers. They're not supposed to be spicy. The ones that you get at the grocery store are very spicy, and I like to use those for pot roast, like Mississippi pot roast. And I was disappointed that these ones aren't spicy, but I heard that when I looked it up, it said that you can use like a habanero or a jalapeno or something and can those with the pepperoncini peppers, and that should transfer some spice to the pepperoncini peppers. So I'm going to try that and see if we can salvage these. I'll be disappointed if they're flavorless though. After a bit of picking, we decided to just pull the pepper plants out from the roots since they're going to be done for the year. And we're just going to pick them off that way. It's a lot easier. I'm going to take these pepper plants and just compost them in my compost pile. We're going to use my son's Mickey bucket as a harvest bucket today. Look at all those peppers on that plant. I did also grow serrano peppers, but I'm not going to harvest those yet. I'm going to let them go right up until the first frost date and then pull them because they're still green and still a little small, and I'm hoping that they can get a little bigger and possibly ripen before the frost. Probably not, but we're hopeful. Right here I asked my dad to test one of the carrots to see if they're growing any, and they started growing. They're still very, very small, but those will be okay in the ground over winter, and that'll just make them sweeter anyway, so I'm just going to leave them there and just let them grow till they're ready. My son was looking like he wanted to give it a try, so I cleaned it off for him with my shirt and then let him have it. He decided he didn't want it and put it back in the bucket. That's okay, the chickens loved it. I was thinking we really weren't going to get much from the garden this season because everything took so long to grow, but I'm already pretty impressed with what we've gotten. We've gotten a lot of ground cherries. My son's been able to eat like 3 a day fresh. And we got all the 23 pounds of potatoes. I'm very happy with that. We have a lot of peppers. We have a few tomatoes, not much. None have ripened yet. We'll bring them inside at the end of the season and let them ripen inside. So I'm a little disappointed with that. I really wanted to have a big, tomato year and be able to do all the sauces and pizza sauces and everything, but we didn't get there this year. I'm gonna grow a whole separate tomato bed next year, I think. We got a lot of celery, cucumbers. We were able to do 2 batches of cucumbers, or pickles I meant. So this year was pretty good. It wasn't a fail, like I thought it was going to be. And we even got some cabbage earlier in the season. These are my eggplant plants. We are going to just pull out. They're done for the season too. We got a decent amount of eggplants too, and they were delicious. I was saving one for seed, but then one of my chickens got to it and ate it. So we won't have eggplant seeds this year. We'll just have to buy them next year. That's fine. And they didn't get sick, thank God. This is our parsley. We also got a lot of herbs this year. Parsley, oregano, basil. This should grow back fine next year. I've had good luck with the parsley growing back every year and overwintering well. And that's it for now from our garden. Here's our potatoes, peppers, some cucumbers, celery, and parsley.